So today it's all about description, and you'll have to describe on the test. Absolute value, so we're going to, absolute value of A means ignore the sign. So after ignoring the sign, if you're greater than 1, then it's a vertical stretch. Vertical because A is being multiplied by F, which represents the Y value. And it's going to be by a factor of the absolute value of A. If A is between 0 and 1, then it's a vertical compression. Stretches mean it moves closer to Y. Compression means it moves away from the Y-axis. And that's by a factor of absolute value of A.
So when you say ignore the sign or ignoring the absolute value?
No, ignoring the sign means if it was -2. We're looking at 2 only. Okay, now, what does A less than 0 mean? Negative numbers are less than 0. So now if A is negative, then you have a flip over which axis? Flip over the x-axis. Now, I asked you to communicate with each other yesterday, and some people had an even function, and they couldn't, or maybe it was an odd function. If you flip over x-axis, I guess it was the y-axis flip, the even people couldn't see. But that's why you were supposed to talk to your teammates, because whatever it did to your function, it did to the other. And if I have an y-axis flip and it's even, it did flip. It just looks the same. All right, any questions about A? So maybe I should give us, let's do an example. I'm going to stop here, and we're going to go here. So what is A? 1. So because A is 1, then that means that there is no stretch or compression. And I should say no vertical stretch or compression. Now, it's positive, so is there a flip? Is there a flip? No flip over the x-axis. Also known as reflection. Okay, what about that? There's still no stretch or compression because it's 1. But there is a flip over the x-axis. Okay, 1/3 is inside, not outside. What did the 2 do? Vertical stretch by a factor of 2. Is there a flip? No. What did this do? Vertical compression by a factor of, okay, that's what I'm talking about on the A. So now let's go to B. Okay, we are going to look at the reciprocal. And I want you to think reciprocal for B so that it makes, you can follow kind of the same rules for A. If the reciprocal of B, again, ignoring the sign, if the reciprocal of B is greater than 1, it is no longer vertical, but it is a horizontal stretch. Now, this means we're getting closer to the x-axis. Horizontal stretch by a factor, and the factor is the reciprocal of B. If that reciprocal of B is between 0 and 1, then we're going to have a horizontal compression, meaning, wait a minute, yes, meaning that it is moving away from the x-axis. Horizontal compression by a factor of, and that would be the reciprocal of B. What does less than 0 mean? Negative. So when B is negative, then it is a y-axis reflection or flip. Reflection is a sophisticated word. Since your college algebra, we should use it. Okay. So if we look at this, our B is right here. Notice how B, and when we looked at it up here, is B distributed? Is it distributed? No. It's undistributed. Is this 2 undistributed? So this is B. So we do not focus on 2, we focus on what? The reciprocal. What is its reciprocal? That is its opposite. The reciprocal is 1/2. So we're looking at 1/2. 1/2 is between 0 and 1, meaning it is a horizontal compression by a factor of what? Factor of 1/2. When we get close to x, everything is like backwards. Now, is there a reflection? No reflection, because 2 was positive. Let's look at this one. We don't, that's my B, but we don't think, we do not focus on 3, we focus, on 1/3, we focus on 3. We look at the reciprocal. Based on the reciprocal, then this function has a horizontal stretch by a factor of 3. Is there a reflection? No, because 1/3 is positive. All right, now I'm being really devious on the next one. How am I being devious? It's distributed because it's fun. So we have to undistribute it. So y is equal to f of what? 5 times. Okay, so now it is available to invest or talk about. What's the reciprocal? So therefore, it's a horizontal compression by a factor of, okay, remember it's always, in fact, you might want to write that reciprocal just to have it in front of you. Is there a reflection? No reflection. Okay, C and D is really easy. A and B, I think, is yeah, C and D are your shifts. But C is next to your X, which means it's going to not be what you think it is. X's are problematic. All right, so here is C. Now remember, do you see that this equation comes with subtraction? So when it's in the subtraction form, when C is positive, we move to the right. When C is negative, we move to the left. Now, when C is negative, is it going to look like X minus a minus C? What will it look like? What's a minus minus? It's going to look like X plus C. But you can't say that's a right movement because it's the wrong sign. Once you turn it to subtraction, what's the sign of C? Negative, therefore it moves left.
So when X plus C, you go right.
X plus C, you go left. X minus C goes right because I'm subtracting a positive C. If you don't like that explanation, then it shifts in the opposite direction as it appears. Okay? So if we have, well, maybe we'll do this. If it's X minus C, then it moves what? Right. How many units? C units. Now some people, and I'm not sure it was in this period as much as it was in a later period, said, well, the X's were added by 2, or the X's were subtracted by 2. Well, you could have looked at the function itself to see that without ever seeing what happened in the graph. So that was an acceptable description. So now what does this do? Moves left C units. Okay. However, D is as it appears. If D is positive, it moves up D units. And if D is negative, it moves down D units. So all I'm asking you to do are these descriptions. So you're going to, I don't know what the directions say, but you're going to totally ignore them. Okay? Totally ignore them. And you're going to explain about A, B, C, and D. So I'm going to go to this page. So if we look at this, what will you tell me? The function did what? Move to the left 3. Okay? What we already talked about this one. We already talked about this one. What is this? Horizontal. Because it's all about the stretch by a factor of 3. Okay, I think we already talked about that one, correct? That was a vertical compression by a factor of. Okay, these weren't real interesting here. Now this is a lot better. Okay, so let's look at this first one. What can you tell me about the 5 halves? Now don't assume because it's a fraction, it's a compression. Is this less than 1 or bigger than 1? So if it's bigger than 1, then it's a vertical stretch. Why do you think I wrote 5 halves? I did. I know it. Factor of what? Okay. What does this tell us? You're going to shift right 6. Okay, what does this mean? What does it mean? Reflect over x-axis. What does this mean? Shift left 1, and it shifted down 6. Okay, so what about this one? We're growing here. So what kind of flip? It's a reflection over x-axis. What kind of stretch? Stretch won't do it. It's a vertical stretch. Factor of. Okay. Then what? Oh, wait a minute. This is not good enough. I need to see horizontal shift. I need to see vertical shift. So this is a horizontal shift. How did we shift it? How did we shift it? Horizontal?
Yeah, not like left or right? I think that would make it easier.
All right, I'll accept either. Horizontal shift what? I definitely want left and up and down. Right what? Right 4. And then what does that say? That would be a shift. I like that. Vertical shift up 5. I would rather have left, right, up, down than horizontal, vertical if you have to choose. I look up here. Yeah, it is. It's really insane. All right. No. Well, let's see. What is this? Vertical compression by a factor of 3/7. What is this? Horizontal shift right 2. Yeah. I thought you'd like. Well, no. That's all you need. There's a smiley face. So you know what you have to do. Well, let me look at the problems, because I think if there's like just one description. Now, if they were like I don't even have a really big one up there. If you had to describe everything, then I would say odd. But I'm guessing. So 1 through 25. It is 1 through 25 all. Yeah. There's a reason why I did that. Do you know what? Tell you what. You do whatever you want to do out of those 25. I will be grading all 25 for full credit.
So back to